Section B will be from the front of the door to the back of the tractor, which includes your fuel tank. Okay, so we'll start off with your doors and mirrors. This is your West Coast mirror. It's used for your straight backing and looking straight behind you. Should be securely mounted to your vehicle. It should be properly adjusted. You should see 20% of the inside of the mirror. You should see the side of your trailer. 80% you should see the lane next to you. You get those adjusted when you're in a completely straight line. If you're turned, you cannot adjust them properly. Got another fisheye, bug eye, or convex mirror for your turns. They're both securely mounted, not cracked or damaged. The door opens and closes. It's important you test it from the inside also for opening. In case there's a fire, you need to get out. On the edge of your door, or it could be on the side of your inside here. You should have your rubber weather strip. It should be soft, pliable, not dry rotted or missing. We don't want any whistling noises or any rain getting in on you. Your windows should go up and down properly. You should also have some kind of way of adjusting your mirrors if they are power. They're on the inside of that door. These ones are not power though. These are just adjust with your hand. Your fuel tank. You should have a minimum of 2 straps. It should not be leaking anywhere. It shouldn't have any dents, and between your strap and your tank, you should have some kind of rubber seal or gasket. That way you don't have metal on metal rubbing together. This is an aluminum tank and the straps are metal. That strap will run right through that tank pretty quickly. Alright, you want to make sure, like I said, there's no dents, leaking, and your fuel cap attaches properly. It's nice and tight. And on the inside of it, you have a rubber seal or gasket so you don't have any leaks when it splashes around inside there. While you have this out or off, take a peek inside and see how much fuel you have. It should match what your gauge says inside the truck. Okay? These wires on the top here run your pumps and your gauge. So if you got big feet and you stand on here, you can easily bump that little wire over there and knock it off, and then your gauge is not going to be accurate. Also across the top here we have crossover lines. They keep both tanks at the same level. Sometimes they'll have shut-off valves on them for working on the tanks. If they do have those, make sure they're in the open position. Make sure they're not leaking. They shouldn't be touching anything that moves. You also never want to fill your tank more than 95% to allow for expansion. When it gets hot and vibrates, or this is hot in the sun, that fuel will warm up and it'll swell up. That'll give you it has a little safety valve on the top of the fuel tank that'll pop up and you'll just leak that fuel out anyway. There's too much pressure in there. Just to relieve the pressure. That's what it's for. Alright, your steps and your handles, make sure nothing is slippery on them, such as snow, mud, ice, debris. They're all securely mounted to your vehicle so you don't fall. You also have steps back here on top of your battery box. Make sure your battery box is strapped down, the lid at least, so that way it doesn't fall off while you're driving, or it doesn't slip while you're stepping on it. Inside here, you'll check your batteries to make sure they're strapped down and not rattling around inside the box. And they should have no corrosion on the terminal posts, and the wires should all be tight. On your dashboard inside, it should tell you how many volts you have in your batteries. It should be 12 to 14. Alright, back here on the back of the cab, we have a back window. You would check that the same as the front window. It's not dirty, you want to use it. If it's there, keep it clean, it's very useful. The seal around the side or the edge should be soft, pliable, not dry rotted or missing. No illegal stickers again. You have a utility light back here. This is used for picking up your airlines at night or backing out of the trailers. We have a catwalk, securely mounted, nothing slippery on them. We have airbags back here. They're also called bellows for your air suspension underneath your cab. You'll have little shock absorbers and a height level control arm which adjusts the air inside there. That'll keep your cab bouncing around nicely so you don't wreck your back. The back of your transmission back here should have no leaks. Your drive shaft should be not bent. You shouldn't have anything wrapped around it, such as a rope or anything like that gets sucked up when you drive over it. Your U-joints are all attached properly to the transmission and back here to your differential. Differential shouldn't be leaking. frame back here, no holes, no repair welds. Don't see any cracks. And you have cross members between the two frames. They're securely mounted. We've already talked about the fifth wheel back here on the last test that we watched, so we're not going to do that again. These are called splash guards. They're there to stop stuff from splashing up against the back of your cab. These are not required by law. If you're bobtailing and you don't have a trailer, you will have to have these on here. Okay? They cannot be higher than 12 inches, and they should all be in good condition, and they shouldn't be flapping around too much, like straight out while you're driving. They should be stiff enough to stay down. They're there to design. They're designed to stop things from flying out from your tires backwards. Tires, rims, we already did, and brakes we did on that first test, so I'm not going to do those again. But we do have a different suspension back here. We have air suspension. You're going to have your frame, a bracket, control arm, U-bolt saddle, axle housing, and anchor plate. You're going to have a frame stop above that. If you keep following it back, you'll have a shock absorber. Can't be bent, broken, loose, missing, leaking. Rubber bushings on the top and bottom, and they cannot be dry rotted or missing. They should be soft and pliable. You have a lower bellow support in the back, a bellow, and then an upper bellow support back to the frame. And this is all adjusted with a height level control arm, which is air controlled. Okay? So you're going to check, obviously, your bellows and your height level control arm and all of your air lines for leaks. Everything else, not BBLM, bent, broken, loose, or missing. Your frame can't be cracked, no repair welds. Your bracket in the front over here, no repair welds, securely mounted, no nuts and bolts missing. And that's your suspension. Keep working your way back. You have tail lights back here. They're kind of hard to see. Don't forget them on your test. You have to do a light function on every one of your tests. So test A will do the front headlights. Test B will do the tail lights here, and test C will do your tail lights on the trailer. So we have 5 functions back here. We got turn signals, hazards, running and parking lights. You also have a reverse light and brake lights. And that should be section B.